This episode may contain language or discussions that may be offensive or triggering. Refer to the episode summary for details. Welcome to the SheConfidential podcast. My name is Charlene Ketchum, and today I'm chatting with Mrs. Cynthia Walker, and she is a registered dental hygienist, and she's the founder of Hygiene Helpers. And today we're going to talk about career pivoting, knowing when to turn that no into a yes. We're going to also talk about how to get funding for your businesses and talk about the power of your circle and just mindset and all kind of good stuff related to business and entrepreneurship. So thank you so much for chatting with me today. And the first question I have for you is about this great resignation that we keep talking about. So we know that right now, more people than ever are walking away from their careers and jobs that they've had for a long time. We also know that a lot of Black women are starting businesses and becoming entrepreneurs at larger numbers than ever. So what do you think is behind these shifts?
During the pandemic, in the beginning, most of us, and I feel like most of us were afraid. We didn't know that this would come to the United States. But when it did, most of our jobs without notice pretty much furloughed us. They gave us pink slips. Mm-hmm. They told us that we were no longer needed. And we realized that we were replaceable at the drop of a hat. We realized that at any given time, the stability or the life that we had built with companies, it was just gone. It was no longer readily accessible. And so stability is a thing that most women, it brings security to them when they are stable. They know where their money's coming from. They know where the food's coming from. They know how everything is going to be maintained. They don't have a feeling of the rug being pulled from up under them. They know they're going to be sheltered. And when that's taken away, I feel like we go into this mode where we survive. We do what we need to survive. So in that process of businesses closing, we realize opportunities to now purchase those businesses and start our own and make revenue for ourselves so that we make sure that this never happens again. We make sure that we're stable, that we have revenue coming in. We know where it's coming from. We know when it's coming. It created an area where we wanted to make sure that we were always in a position where we knew what was going to happen at the next corner.
Can you provide a snapshot of your professional journey?
I really have to start back from, I guess, college. I had my first child at 19. So that was my freshman year in college. Came home, worked for a couple of years, had my second child, and realized, okay, I'm in a management role at a chain store, I guess I should say, and was doing quite well for someone my age, but I knew that this was not something that I could do for the rest of my life. I think my goal was to move out of my mom's house. That was my goal, and to have my own, but I did not have the income at that time that could provide for 2 kids and myself. So sociology major and music education major in college with 2 kids now became what is the quickest certification or degree that I can get that could provide a good lifestyle. And so it was nursing or dental assisting. And so I didn't want to draw blood, pass out. Didn't want to do that. So I decided to go into dental assisting, finished that course in a year and a half, and decided I want to go further because I ended up getting a position as a dental assistant while I was actually in school. So went to hygiene school. I got my associates in general studies just to get my core out of the way. And then I ended up going into dental assisting, working that time, and then going into dental hygiene, which was a fluke because I was supposed to go to dental school and got scared.
Yeah.
So I decided to just stay with dental hygiene and kind of work it. And the plan was after a few years, I would go back to dental school because I just needed 5 more sciences. But in the long run, I kind of fell in love with the position. And from there, working private practice, as we all do, our 9 to 5s and, maybe the weekends off. And I saw this need. Dental hygiene is like a predominantly female profession. And so with that, there was a lot of call-ins, a lot of people having babies and just had to have that time off. And so I thought, wow, I could start a staffing agency to kind of compensate for all of the short staff that most of the offices had. So that's what I did. If someone had a call, I would make sure I filled it. Most of the time short notice, just had a good rapport with different dentists in the area from being an assistant, and had a good rapport with those in hygiene as well from being in school and networking. And from there, it grew much further because now I had opportunities to speak to front office staff, to other dentists, to dental assistants. Now it grew much bigger because I saw those opportunities where, befriending dentists that could come and fill in for this one when they had deaths in the family, just different atmospheres, different levels of filling positions. And so we got into that. Then we got married back in 2013. And so with that, a move to South Carolina put me in a different licensing, different regulations as far as what hygienists can do, which pivoted me to nursing home dentistry. Here, the supervision is just outstanding. We really don't have to have the dentist probably once a year to do our exams. And so I got into a company, nursing homes, and I didn't know how much of a passion this was until I actually started working in this position. This has grown tremendously to the point where on the side, I started working with, we're building, I should say, building platforms where we could work with those in prison, those in schools. It's just different environments, those in corporations, but just making sure, I think this goes to what I'm doing now, is expanding to where we can offer dentistry. We're redefining how people see it. We're redefining where you have to have your dental work done, what procedures can be done where. That's my goal, is to make it easier to access dental care.
Wow. Like that is such an awesome and inspiring journey. I mean, because you just talked about, like, at the end there, you took scaling to a whole nother level. I mean, people talk about scaling their business, but you talk about finding different ways to repurpose your services and serve different clients, and just the power of having good relationships and collaborations and overcoming that fear. And so I want to go back to, because thank you for being honest and real about, you know what, I held off on doing this because I was scared. Like, because that impacts a lot of us, especially women. We've never done something before, and we've got all these naysayers, or we've got like real life. We've got real life bills. We got real life responsibilities. And you're thinking, can I really take this gamble? Can I really do this? I've never done this before. And for most of us, we don't know anybody else who's done it either. So there's no blueprint that's familiar. So how did you push past that fear?
Doing it afraid. There are things I do even right now that I'm like, I don't even know. It's kind of, some things I say no to.
Yeah.
That's right off the bat. Some things I say no to. And when I do, I honestly have people in my corner too that will push me past my comfort zone. And, I have to use this acronym. My husband, we were listening to a podcast, and the acronym was POUR, passing over opportunities repeatedly. That's why we're poor. And the opportunities, they come so frequent. They come, people want you to do things, just anything that comes to you. And we pass over it because we're afraid.
Yeah.
And I feel during this time, especially when there's so much growth, so much potential, so many open doors. It is very dangerous to stay there. I look at the rise in food costs, the rise in gas, and it's like you have the resources in your hands. Everything that you need is in your hands to do everything that you need to do to sustain yourself. The question is, will we do it? Will we do it? Will we sit back and be afraid at the doom and gloom that's coming? Or will we take advantage of what we have in our hands? That's the question I have to ask myself. And if I sit back, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
If I sit back and look at the what ifs, what if I fail? I failed. I failed in a lot of things, real estate. I failed in that in some areas. But I'm willing to do it again because I just have a trust that it's going to succeed. If first I fail, I try again so I can get to that winning side. I just need to do something different.
Yeah. Are there certain things that you kind of look at to evaluate whether a no should be a yes?
Yeah. I honestly have to ask myself, why is it a no? Is it a no because I'm scared? Is it a no because I feel like, is it legitimate? I guess I should say, is it a legitimate no? Is it, I really need to take this time to maintain myself, to rest? Or is it a no because I'm so shell shocked that I don't want to be put in that position? Which is me most of the time.
Yeah.
Just that shell shock. And I don't want to expand out. But when I really ask myself, if I step out, this could be an opportunity for something else. Yeah. But I'm too scared to move forward. It's always something on the other side of that. Yeah. If I just move out.
Yeah. What have been some of your biggest big business lessons?
I have to say relationships. Making sure you maintain your relationships. There's a way to talk to people. There's a way to treat people. There's a way, if you're working a job, there's a way to leave. Always in a position where you're treating people as you want to be treated. It's like sowing and reaping. You don't go and just being nasty to someone. Quick story, in a drive-through, and someone cut me off. And I was very mad, very, very angry, and kind of sat there when they could have advanced. I kind of sat there, just did some really ugly things. And then I heard a voice say, well, that's not Christ-like. That's not Christ-like. And so in return, I had to pay it forward. I had to pay for their food. Because I never want to see that person on the other side. I could be going for a contract. I could be going for anything. And that could be the person that I meet on the other side. But if I don't check that, I've just lost that contract.
Yeah. Yeah.
So just knowing, always give the people the respect that they need. Always treat people the way that you want to be treated.
Yeah.
Especially in business, because you never know, that is money in your pocket, but you burn that bridge because you were angry or because you disagreed. You didn't know how to agree to disagree. That is very important.
Yeah. And I thought about that when you were discussing your career path and everything, and how you were able to circle back and create these new collaborations with people that you had worked with or that you had just met, and that people introduced you to others. I'm like, you know what? She knows how to cultivate and sustain meaningful relationships for real, because people, like you just said, people always think it's about what you know and building your credentials and all that. Okay, those things matter, but those relationships and how you treat people, I honestly think we downplay the importance of it.
We do. And it's not that you have to have them in your bosom.
No.
Just know their distance. Some people can be in this holy of the holies places, but some people need to step back. But you can't have them as close to you, but you still can respect them and have that relationship.
Yeah. And so this brings to mind, this is slightly off topic, but kind of related. because this is something I know a lot of us struggle with, as Black women, especially as we start growing and expanding our capacity. So how has your business shifts and glow up impacted your personal friendships and relationships? Like, have you had relationships where you've had to redefine them or kind of redesign your inner circle and everything? Like, how has your career shift impacted your relationships with other people and the space in the room that you make for them and the access that you give other people to you?
It greatly impacted. I think my best friends are my husband and God. Those are my best. You know every deep down dirty secret. Every vulnerable thing. That, and they are supposed to know that.
Mm-hmm.
I do have very close sisters, sister-in-laws, aunts, prayer partners that we could all engage. We can all have those conversations. I'm always selective. I felt like I was an open book, but I really have been selective on what I share with people. I think I've learned that everybody really is not for you. And when someone doesn't agree with your stance on something or your opinion, they tend to tell all your business. I mean, they just, and I think through the years, I just got tired of that. I really got tired of that to a point where, you're being hurt over and over again. And it's insanity. You're doing the same thing. You're befriending someone, you're telling them all your business. And at the end of the day, you guys have a falling out. You're still, cordial, but then all your business is out there. All your vulnerabilities are out there. And so you learn, okay, this is information that should not be dispersed with people who are not going to every level that I'm going to go on. And those people, God and my husband, they're going to go everywhere with me for the rest of my life. So those are the people that I should invest those very intimate things with.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Because I think a lot of us sometimes it's almost like a survivor's guilt, maybe, because you're putting in the work and you're getting this success in your harvest. You are reaping your harvest. And then you have these other people who, for whatever reason, not judging them, but for whatever reason, that's not their experience. And so they act some kind of way. They may love you, but their own insecurities and personal frustrations may make it really hard for them to show up and support you in the way that you need. And sometimes you have to step back and you can feel like, I know I felt guilty. I have felt guilty thinking like, this has been somebody I've known for a long time. I love this person, but they just don't align with where I'm trying to go and where I am. And I felt guilty about that. And so I always ask other women, do you deal with that? And how do you manage that?
Very much. I feel it. I feel it. I've had friends since elementary school, friends since middle school, still best friends, may not talk every day. May talk once a month, may not see each other for years, still friends. It's just certain levels and certain things that I'm doing. It's like like-mindedness, really not. And it's not that you outgrow people. It's that you come to a place where there's something different. There's something better. And I really have to go after that. Not that I don't love you, not that you don't love me. You said a mouthful.
Yeah. Because starting a business, and even just being healthy, just finding your joy in this life and sustaining your joy and fulfillment in this life is a lot. And then when you talk about starting a business and scaling it and having it be sustainable, because everybody focuses on launching and starting a business, but how are you going to maintain it? Because you opened up by talking about how a lot of these companies, they were giving people the pink slips, a lot of things happened and we have a lot of uncertainty that we're still facing as we, head into this recession. We don't know what's to come. So even with starting the business, one of the things that I wanted to ask you about, because we know that a lot of Black women, the biggest hurdle for starting a business for us tends to be raising capital. and funding. So on top of it, we have the confidence challenges and imposter syndrome, but then actually getting the funds to start the business. And so do you, have any suggestions for people who are trying to start the business and find the money to do it?
Honestly, I have been one of those people. I've heard so many husbands that are putting businesses into their wives' name because the funding is supposed to be available for women and African American women. I have put in for grants. It is like, I really feel like taking a course on how to apply for grants is needed. It's needed. And I know some people do offer that. I guess the questioning is just so, it is so technical, with the questioning of how to apply for grants, that really it needs to be taught. I feel like that's why a lot of us miss out on funding. And honestly, in my needing season, it was a lot of applying, not getting it, applying, not getting it. And I really just sat back, and as much as I could purchase with what I had, the capital that I did have already, I did. And honestly, I have to say, in prayer, yeah. Asking, what else do I need? And a lot of it was, okay, this person is, so I'm going to buy this used. I'm going to skimp out and do this. But to actually gain other funding and finding investors, I am still seeking that myself.
Yeah.
I probably would love someone who has mastered that, who has mastered how to get funding, how to get those grants, how to get this free money with ease. It's something that I think we all need to know.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think one of the big things that you just said that kind of stood out to me was your persistence and resilience, and recognizing where you could use some help. Mm-hmm. And being willing to, whether you're going to invest in learning those skills or invest in people who can teach you those skills. Because a lot of times, and I like Google. I Google a lot. Yes. I'm a do it myself, or as much as I can. But I also recognize my limits. Like, this is not my lane. And like you said, those grants. And I used to work at a non-for-profit, and it was all grant. Most of it was grant funding. The majority of it was grant funding. Very little was probably from private donors. And you're right. When you're applying for those grant applications, they are very specific. And you have to have those, you have to have the results, and there's certain phrasing and wording. There's a science to it. There's a little bit of an art, but there's a science to it as well. And so definitely, y'all, don't be afraid to invest in taking some courses, or if you can afford to hire somebody to help you write for these grants, because it's that serious. And there's I've seen some that are really short applications and things like that, but for the most part, especially when you're looking for a lot of dollars, it's going to be some work that you have to put in with that.
Yes.
And you mentioned also, and I want to highlight this because everybody's on this big be an entrepreneur kick, leave your job. And I noticed that you said that you used, the funds that you had. And so I want to confirm, were you working? Did you still have a 9-to-5 job or other income while you were building up your business? Yeah.
All the time. I really feel like it's kind of stability. Like I said, we look for stability as women. Yeah. Now, is it easy? No. It's not easy when you're trying to take care of a family. You're trying to work a 9-to-5, and then you're not working your 5 to 9 at home after that. But that 5 to 9, if you work it the right way, that 9-to-5 money won't be near as much with that 5 to 9 money that you're going to receive. So it's all about, I'm big on budget. I thrift a whole lot. I cut corners where I can. I meal plan so that the things that I need to do, that I have the funds accessible to do those things.
Yeah. So how do you make room for self-care? because you've got, all these business ventures and you have a family and you have a husband. And when, I mentioned, because I think a lot of times we think that I can't have these things. Like I've got to, focus so much on my career that it's going to be impossible for me to make space to have a healthy partnership with somebody else, and it sounds like you've been able to do that, but I'm sure it's not easy. So how do you make room for self-care and having some harmony with all these things and that you have going on?
I think as far as my spouse, we have our date nights, and sometimes we don't have them as frequent as we need. Yeah. Actually, we probably need one right now. But it's kind of if there's tension, I think we've both realized if there's tension or if it's just a longing for each other because we're in and out all the time. Yeah. It's time for a date night. It's time for us to either take a weekend. Sometimes we'll take a weekend and just drive 2 hours away just to be with each other. As far as the kids, we try to do something at least once a quarter where we get them together. Most of them are older now, so they're working, they have their careers, they have their children, which makes it hard, but trying to schedule time with them. Now, as far as me personally, I shut down. I shut down. Like last week, we were on vacation. I probably didn't check any emails. I probably got back to those maybe Monday. Monday was very stressful. I think I got back to some of those. Some of the stuff I had to do during vacation because all of the launching and stuff that's going on behind the scenes, I had to take some of those. But for the most part, unplugging, doing something fun. I like TikTok and I shouldn't. That's shameless plug. I should not
like TikTok. I'm on TikTok. Are you following me on TikTok?
You know what? I need to see.
She.confidential on TikTok.
I need to see. Yes.
I'm doing more on there. TikTok it's addictive. Like whoever came up with that, this whole, you have to really pull yourself out. I'm watching reel after reel and I'm like, please let them put up something whack so I can break the cycle.
But it's become a learning tool for me.
Yeah.
So like if I Google it or if I go to YouTube and it's a long video, it's not as concise. TikTok, type it in, give me a short. I mean, I learned so much from it. It's not just all the fun stuff that I like to do on there, but I love those kind of apps for unplugging, just sitting down sometimes and not doing nothing. I should be a bigger reader than I am. I'm learning to kind of pull back and put more in me as far as that's concerned. But as far as getting massages, going to different appointments, it's kind of like, okay, I gotta make time. I gotta make time to do that. I am guilty. I do not do that as much as I need to, but I'm getting better. Yeah. I have to say I'm getting better.
Okay. I'm going to make sure I put you on our email list. So starting in August, we are going to send out a self-care calendar every month. And so every day of the month, we will have a self-care activity that you can do. And it'll vary. It'll be between, because, there are 8 different components of wellness, including occupational, so things related to your career, environmental, so decluttering, making sure your space is nice, mental, emotional, physical, what's the other ones? Social, interacting with other people, spiritual. So we are going to have a self-care calendar that's going to have a simple activity that you can do every day. And on top of that, so we'll email that calendar to you at the beginning of the month. And then what we'll do on social media is the day before, we're going to give you some tips on options. So if one of the self-care activities is drink some herbal tea, I'll share some of my favorite herbal teas from some of the Black-owned vendors that I support. If it's meditate, we're going to give you some basics on meditating, all these different things, because it's hard, we are juggling businesses and we are just doing life. It's hard. And sometimes, we schedule, I'm a firm believer, we schedule what's important. And that's what keeps it consistent for us. So if we have it on a calendar, and so we'll give you a calendar, and you can take that calendar and just plop those little tasks on your own calendar. And then if you follow us on social, like on Instagram, yeah, because we'll be doing activities on Instagram, definitely. We'll give you tips on how to prepare for that next day self-care activity. So if you've never meditated before, we'll have a resource for you to help you get started with that. If you don't know where to start with decluttering, because that's a form of self-care. And so I think and self-care is really anything that you're doing that's supporting your wellness and well-being. It can be working on your budget. It could be sleeping in on a Saturday. It could be scheduling all those wellness appointments, like your appointment with your dental hygienist. Yeah. All those things are self-care, or the massage, which I'm a fan of massages too. And so I need to schedule one, and you said you need to schedule one. So I'm making myself a note to follow up with Cynthia. So I'm going to follow up with you next Friday to confirm that you've scheduled a massage. I'm making myself a note to follow up with Cynthia to confirm that she scheduled a massage. And so I'm going to follow up with you next Friday to make sure you at least just got it scheduled.
Okay. I'm going to find it.
So I'm going to email you after we finish recording and tell you I'm going to follow up with you by next Friday. So you have until next Friday to get one scheduled. You don't have to go do it, but just getting it scheduled.
Now, I think you need to say get one schedule and not feel guilty because you are taking this time.
See, that's a whole nother exercise right there. But we got you on that one too, because we have support groups and our online community. And so we'll be doing like lunch starting in August. We'll do like some lunchtime sessions to talk about stuff like that, like for real, to have these accountability circles with other Black women who are in business so that we can say, hey, girl, did you schedule that massage? Now, don't you go to that massage and be sitting there looking on your phone and telling the lady, hold up, I'm going to be in there in a minute because I need to respond to this email, or I need to do this, or you're laying on the massage table thinking about your to-do list.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. But it's a learning process. It's a learning process, that learning to unburden and to release and to realize that we deserve this. Like, we deserve it.
Yes.
We deserve it.
Yes.
So this is how we support each other. And so, yeah, we're going to take baby steps. So the first step is going to be to get it scheduled. And then we get to hype you up and be like, girl, you ready? You ready?
Oh, I'm gonna do it.
Really? It happened?
Yeah. It's needed. It's needed. I've had massages that have expired because I haven't used them. I'm serious. They have expired, so I know it's needed.
That hurts me. I am so serious about massages. Like, and you got some that expire. You know what? Next time you get a massage gift card or voucher, email me. Look, I'm gonna make sure you don't let them expire, because I will set a reminder, and you can schedule emails in Google. So I will schedule the email. So I'll be emailing you every day. Like, did you schedule a massage? When you going? When you going? When you going? When you going? I'm serious. I'm a happy nagger. If people tell me to do it, okay? If you tell me to do it, then I will happily nag you. So we gonna come up with a plan.
I give you permission because I need it. So I give you full permission to do that.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, because I get offended. You playing with massages. Like, if I could get a massage every week, I truly would. Wow. Because that's what does it for me. And when I go and get a massage, she'll alert me and remind me if I haven't been properly taking care of myself, because I'll be tense. My body will be tense if I haven't been getting enough water or hydration. They can tell all that, and your lymphatic, because they're working with your lymphatic system, and they can feel if your body is tense and all that. So that's my reminder. And so it makes me, and so I'm that person. I don't want you to tell me that I'm not doing good. So I'm going to really make sure I'm sleeping and moving and drinking, lots of water and water rich foods before I have my massages, so that I don't, get a quote unquote bad report. So it helps keep me on track too. So yeah, we're going to work on that.
Yes, ma'am.
So we'll
I will
work on
do
that.
better. I will definitely do better.
So before we wrap up, I would love if you would let the audience know if they're interested in working with Hygiene Helpers, how they can connect with you and how people can collaborate with you.
Well, you can reach me at hygienehelpers@yahoo.com. My other email for the LLC is the Bensky Group, and that's spelled BENSKY group at yahoo.com. Or you can reach me at hygienehelpers.wixsite/website at, well, .com rather. And you can get that information. I'm trying to think, I'm on Instagram at Cynthia Walker RDH, and it's all one word. Reaping a Harvest on TikTok, if you wanted to do that. Not really posting a whole lot, so I'm just looking at your videos probably.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that.
I'm also just doing a book release, an anthology project, actually. It's going to be launched next month. I don't have the dates for that right now, but that book is called Living Your Faith Out Loud, and this is volume 2, and I'm a co-author and a project attendee, I guess I should say, on that one. And I'll be speaking August 5th through 7th on Faith Inspiration Network, and they are launching a conference called Living Your Faith Out Loud. And so I'll be a speaker on that. It's fully virtual. If you'd like to log on or register, registration is free, and it's on Living Your Faith Out Loud. You can, or Faith Inspiration Network, and you can register there.
That is awesome. Oh my goodness. Congratulations. You go, girl. Okay. I'm gonna get all these details. And so for the audience, all the details for the book, where you can purchase the book, and so I don't know. I think this episode is going to come out the end of August. So it may be after the speaking engagement, but I'll include those details in the email newsletter so people know where they can register and support as well. So that's incredible. And I'll definitely have all your social media and email links in the description box for the podcast and YouTube video and the book purchase and everything. So that's incredible. That's incredible. I'm proud of you. Congratulations. I mean, you're saying yes. Like, this is your year of yes.
Well, I thank you, because you are doing huge things, and just the different platforms and the different podcasts that you have featured, even on the self-care that's needed. You know, everything that you're giving is relevant to women. I can't just say the US, it's all over.
Yeah.
Any woman, any country. Yeah. So I just encourage everyone to just join in. I mean, we're really grateful for just being a guru, being just this awesome person that will put together a platform that will support us. That is quite awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that so much. Thank you.
Much needed.
I have enjoyed our chat. And oh my gosh, so thank you so much. And everyone, I have been chatting with Ms. Cynthia Walker. I'm Charlene Ketchum, and until next time.